Hi and welcome along everyone. Today's video, this one concerns getting a little bit more heat out of the radiators in your home. You know, why is it always that front room radiator where you sit in the evening and although it's as hot as it's going to get, it's piping hot all over. Okay, we must make sure you check that. It still isn't hot enough though. It's the real cold nights, it's still not enough heat. Is there anything I can do to get some more heat from that radiator, because I've got no other form of heat in the room, just this radiator, and it almost seems like it's too small for the room. So let's go for the simple option of what you can do first, shall we? And that one is very simple, and it's this stuff here. Yeah, kitchen foil. There it is, our good old friend. Now, not the cheapest option. A roll of that. Ain't going to cost you a lot of money. It's always going to cost you a bit of time to take your radiator off the wall. I've got loads of videos on how to remove radiators from walls, okay, and put them back. I'll give you a link. There are other things you can put on the back of the wall that are supposed to be more efficient, and I'll show you the ones that you can actually buy on the computer here, just a few so you can see. And here you can see the sort of thing I'm talking about, different types of things that can go up and are supposed to make a difference to that heat output of your radiator without having to change the radiator. Right, well that's the very, very cheap option. The other option, of course, is to actually change the radiator for a bigger one, a longer one, but that's going to involve pipe work and quite an expensive muck around to do. You've got to be capable of doing a bit of pipe work and stuff, so that means probably calling in a plumber for most people. No, the easier way is to change that single panel radiator. We're going to say you've got just a single panel with not even a piece of folded metal along the back of it. We're going to say it's just a straight panel, quite an old one, and you want to change that for a rad that could be the same size. Therefore it means you could just turn off the thermostatic valve one side, the lock shield the other, drain a little bit of water out that's in the radiator, take it off the wall and fit one that is a lot more efficient. This is, we're talking about BTU output, okay, British thermal units, and it's the amount of heat that that radiator is going to give off. Now we can drastically improve the BTU output on that single panel straight away just by changing to a better rad. The lowest one is a 11. That's, I don't know why these numbers, and then there's a 21 and a 22. Now these used to be called K1, K2 and K3, but I don't know why they've all got changed, but it doesn't matter. I'll show you exactly what they mean on the PC here. So what we're talking about there is those three types. The top one there with a folded bit of metal right around the back of it is our old K1. The second one is a double panel rad with just one folded piece of metal, it's our K2, and the third one is a K3, which is a double panel with two folds of metal going through it. So basically they now call them, unfortunately, different numbers, 11, 21 and 22, but they will tremendously improve your heat. Now what other hassles do we have in doing this? Well, assuming you can get the same size, and a lot of times you can these days, you will find that just to jump to a K1 or the number 11 over just a straight single old-fashioned panel will give you quite an improvement in heat. The good thing is that it will fit exactly, the pipes would fit exactly, you wouldn't have to bend them or anything. And even if you went to the K2, which is the 21, possibly it will be a little bit wider, and you might have to put pipe a fraction, but it's still not too bad a fit, and that will give you even more heat output. Now there is a BTU chart supplied with every radiator to tell you how much extra heat you will get in British thermal units by changing to a more economical and efficient radiator. So the big question is, what about if you wanted to go for the 22, the K3? This is the double panel with two folded pieces of metal, and I will show you mine now. This is the type I'm talking about. There's a radiator panel on that side at the back, the folded metal there, the folded metal here, and our panel at the front. Okay, so this is basically a K3 or the 22, which is as big as you get for most rads these days. It really does improve the heat output amazingly. But what are the problems when you want to swap this out for a single panel? Well, I'll show you now. Here is a double panel up in my bathroom, and you can see the pipe and rad valve going onto it there. Now it looks straight and okay from here, doesn't it? But what happens when you get to look from above? Now when you get to look from here, you'll see that that pipe has been pulled over, and that's what I've had to do to fit it, because now the radiator is further from the wall, which means you won't have a straight pipe as seen from this angle. Now the problem with that is, if you haven't got any leeway or any way to pull that pipe over, you're not going to fit it. It does mean then you've got to cut this pipe down here somewhere and put some kind of offset bend, which is very difficult if you need a machine, bending machine, or use elbows, which just look pretty awful, I'm afraid. And that is the problems with fitting a double panel like this, which is the P2 again, P3, and the 22, and this one's got grills on it. But again, this is a double panel folded convector. You can see them down there. I think you can see the fins. Yeah, there we are, there they are. Very, very efficient rad, but this one is a very old and rusty one actually. Let's just have another look at that. We'll have to sort this rust out one of these days. This is going to go. We haven't got long. There then we have it. The obstacles, really, I guess you could say, in getting some more heat from a radiator in a room. Say changing a rad, it is a bit of expense these days, especially if you go for the double convector. It has good heat rating from it, and once it's fitted, I suppose it's there for a long while, so you do get your money back, but they are kind of expensive. Also, they take up a lot of room in the room, in that they're doubles. Obviously they're further off from the wall, so there's something else to take into consideration. Please also though, make sure you don't have settees and things like that pushed back against radiators. That really does stop them, or curtains that drape right down over the front of the radiator, because all of that stops the convection of the radiator. Oh, sounds like the postman's here. Mo's barking. Well, time for me to go. Okay, I'm coming. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time round. Bye bye.